learning, you pick up a simple question to yourself. I know everything, and still I have fears and anxiety, sorrow and suffering. Yeah? Just ask yourself. Ask yourself, I know everything and still I have fears and anxiety, sorrow and the suffering. So our master says that if we claim we know everything and still we have fears, anxiety, duality and a conflict in the mind, that state of the mind believes in wrong notion, delusion, hallucinations. Ask yourself, am I right? So the next question comes. Now we are following how to become a seeker. The very first step, Viveka. What should I do then? I know, you gave me a lot of stress, that's why I'm suffering. And then you start crying, then you have tears, and after a few minutes, they are gone. And then you engage yourself in different things and different stuff. What exactly is what I'm doing in my life? Did you ever ask this question? So that is why our master says, first step is to know it. Let me have the right knowledge. That is in the Eastern wisdom through a teacher. So that starts the tradition. Okay. So you understood. Now what is the second question? What teacher does? Why the heck, you have grown beard and you claim that you are guiding us? We should be very clear. If we are not clear, then what will happen? Then the teacher will exploit you. So never allow anyone outside exploit you. I like pasta, so the pasta exploits me. Do you think that? Do you think in this way? And the moment I think in this way, my mind is clear. I'm already in peace. No, I gave an example. So what happens? What teacher does? Teacher helps you explore the problem, wrong notions, delusion in the light of knowledge passed on to us by the teachers. Second thing, he supports the mind to know the cause and effect relationship that causes the sorrow and suffering. And what is the third point? The teacher helps you to explore who we are. I'm talking of teachers in the Eastern wisdom. Who we are and how to go beyond the cause and effect relationship to settle in permanent peace and happiness. Finished. That is the role of a teacher. Now, in the end, what a teacher says to a seeker. Everywhere. That is what the tradition is. So teacher says, now you are a seeker because you have started thinking. Now it is your turn. Contemplate and reflect. See what knowledge says about who you are. You say, I am suffering, and the teacher and the Eastern wisdom says you are of the nature of permanent peace and happiness. So if I do not think, nothing happens. That you have to be very clear. It is your life. Life is a series of experiences, and if you do not analyze your experiences, nothing will happen. Very clear. So you see the role of a teacher, role of the knowledge, Teacher in the Eastern wisdom, if any teacher in the Eastern wisdom says, follow me, it means you follow dogma, you follow belief, you follow religion, you follow cult. As a seeker, you have to refute it. You have to refuse it. Because if you refuse, then only you start thinking. If you don't refuse, you simply follow blindly. Huh? See the logic. And these logic I received from my teachers. So I have to ask, there is another way, he is talking too much, so better to leave him. No, that will not work. I have to inquire. Delusion, once the seeker starts thinking along these lines, you are definitely to become a seeker. The delusion is gone, wrong notions is gone. Now few more practices and ultimately we reach to that state. What is the next question comes to your mind? I'm purely logical today, so because that will help you to invoke the Viveka, the discernment in you. So until I keep aside the world of delusion, we cannot contemplate and think. So we need a teacher, and the teacher teaches from the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom. We don't teach anything that is not there. Let me take up another question so that we are clear. What is the difference between a seeker and ordinary person? Seekers knows the river of life, and that river of life is nothing but a river of delusion. Do you still remember the story I told you? Guy asked the boatman to cross a river so that he can reach to his house. And on the way, this guy was totally academic. He does not think about himself. He asked the boatman, do you know the astronomy? Because he could see the stars. No, I don't know. The academic guy said 25% of your life is wasted. Maybe in a modern terms, the same academic guy said, do you know the headstand pose? No, I don't know it. 50% of your life is wasted. When I can see people standing vertically rather than inverse in a headstand posture, what is the fun? No, you don't understand. Many teachers will say you don't understand how beneficial it is. Anyhow, 50% of your life is wasted. Do you know mathematics? No, I don't know. 75% of your life is wasted. Then the storm came, and now it's a turn of the boatman, who asked, do you know swimming, sir? No, I don't know swimming. 100% of your life is wasted. This gives us an idea that I have to think what I'm doing. This raises my intellect to the next level so that I have a cognitive ability to see what is real and what is unreal. Do you see that? That is what the Viveka is. That is what the discernment is. So the moment I have separated in my mind, you need not to separate outside. You will be in a problem. Inside, knowledge. So when I separate it, 50% you experience that calmness and peace. Look at the last two sessions. Terry did not move at all, and her challenge is that the body has to move. The brain, the way the brain is functioning in her body. She did not move. Separation. Separate. Now understand this separation. Separation. What is cognitive? I said cognitive ability means I cognize here and now. That is why we say meditation is here and now. Now see the entire journey in 4 words. First is, I am an ordinary person. I have to become a seeker. I become a seeker. So that seeker does the self-inquiry because there is a confusion who I am. Clear? Second stage. So where it results into? It results into understanding the reality. Who am I? The moment you understand who am I, as Sam said, just expressed in the very beginning, I am of the nature of permanent peace, happiness, love and wisdom. So it helps me to raise my level of awareness in day-to-day life. I follow the practice. When I follow the practice, you will discover that now all these delusion, fear, anxiety, conflict, they leave your system. They don't dare to approach you. But it does not mean you fell down and you hurt your knees, you don't have a pain. But on the other side, you don't have a suffering because the mind is 100% clear. What is clarity? I picked up that clarity in the last session. What exactly is the clarity? No, we say, no, I'm very clear. I understand. Normally we say, did you understand? Yes, I understand. So understanding is clarity. What is this clarity? Do you see that how our masters think? They pick up every word so that it should assimilate and digest in our system. What is clarity? See the clarity. That is neighbor's house. This is my house. This is clarity. But what happened in the process of understanding and clarity? Clarity means classifying, separating what I am and what I am not. What is mine, what is not mine. Where I have to do that classifying? In my knowledge. This process is known as Viveka, discernment, self-inquiry. If we don't do it, then what happens? See, reverse. Now I'm not a seeker, I'm an ordinary person. You are responsible for my sorrow and suffering. I don't know in what day, that day might have been worse, I got married to you. That is why I am suffering. Why did you choose that day? No, ask yourself, why did you choose that day? No, we don't ask. Why? Because of delusion, wrong notion. That's why I'm stressing again and again. Now we have a group that is committed. That is why I started talking about this. I have to become a seeker. Are you clear about understanding, clarity, classifying, separating? I use different words. Understanding, classifying. This is delusion, this is not. It will take time. Knowledge is not realized in stages. Now see then what happens. That is why I told you we are covering fourfold practices, which are 9 primary practices, and followed by we are listening, doing the satsang, and changing our attitude and behavior in day-to-day life. Ordinary people follow their mind that is instinctive, impulsive, habitual, seeking happiness in the object outside. A seeker is always alive, seeking happiness within, not in any object outside. He follows the intellect with Viveka. Are you clear? Clear? Did you understand? Do you have a clarity? And what is that clarity? Clarity? I have already. You see the beauty of this journey. So ordinary people follow the mind, intellect, and the seeker always follows the intellect with Viveka in it. Classified. Viveka or discernment is the wealth of the intellect. It makes us a human being. Remove the intellect. We are not more than an animal being. Viveka. See the other points. Viveka. Yes, that is also another very important, interesting point. When I am very clear about the real self, what is the real self? That is consciousness, pure consciousness. It is independent of anything outside. So there comes another question. Let me see what I am seeking. Is it dependent on anything outside? I will fall back into delusion. If it is independent, it is consciousness with reference to individual. This consciousness is known as real self. Clear? That's how we understand. That's how our masters teach us. With reference to individual. You are an individual, you are an individual. It is known as real self. And with reference to the universe, it is known as God. I'm not entering into religion. Reference is individual, it is real self. Reference is universe, it is God. But in fact, they both are same. Isn't it? Who you are then? Who you are then? Who you are? Tell yourself who you are. Declare it. You need not to declare outside. Consciousness is the ultimate entity. It is independent of anything outside. So with a reference to individual, this consciousness is known as real self. With reference to the universe, it is known as supreme consciousness, absolute reality, or whatever the name you want to give God. So where lies where God is located? Ask another question. Be 100% clear. Neighbor's house, my house. So I am very clear. with reference to, again I am stressing, with reference to individual. Consciousness is real self. With reference to the world outside, it is supreme consciousness. What is common element in two? Then ask yourself who you are. Who you are. Hence, if I know the real self, I also know the absolute reality. Isn't it? That is the journey of yoga, meditation, tantra. It is one and the same. Water in a tumbler is not different from the water in the river. So that tumbler is indivisible. And if you take a river as the universe, that Viveka is required. Self-inquiry is required because there is a confusion, there is a delusion, there is a wrong notion. And because of the wrong notion, we suffer. Let me take a little deviation. So, fourfold practices. The first one is Viveka, the power of discernment, means the self-inquiry to remove the confusion here. So, the moment I remove the confusion, you start bringing an end to the anxiety, duality, suffering first. You follow the practice, you remove the impressions that is accumulated in the mind for so many years. How? Why? We must use our intellect with reference to discernment to find the reality. Now, in that context, do you see that is there any difference between the inquiry or a research in the science and we are doing research to ourselves? So those people who do not understand, they are guided, okay, do Kundalini, do breathing, do this and that. No. First thing is understanding. Clarity. Do you still remember? Understanding, clarity. Understanding and clarity. So to bring about that clarity in our intellect, then what happens? By these fourfold practices, which we are covering, I call it a 9 primary practice. What happens? Can you ever imagine and think of it? What happens? The best thing that happens, you are aware of the departure point in your life and you are aware of the arrival point in your life. You are 100% clear about destination and the departure point. And when that clarity is there, that is what, Sam does, what is the problem, how to logically solve it in IT, step by step. That is what happens in scientific protocol. That is what we are doing. Where is the difference? Couple of thoughts about departure and arrival point. What is your departure point in your life? I read the news that our dear friend, was crying and has tears in his eyes. He said that he is to blame. Do you remember, dear friend? Bill Gates. He's a good friend of mine. You don't know. So, you see that? Do you see departure point? That is the first point of departure. But now, where is my arrival point? My destination is the same which I have already experienced before. I'm not going into detail, you can make out. I'm single, I'm unhappy, so I get married. Now I'm still unhappy, so I get divorced. Then what is the arrival point again? Remarry. You see? So that clarity is not there in my life. Departure, arrival, days after days, weeks after weeks, months after months, years after years, I'm doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Why? Because I do not follow, I do not learn from my experiences. And that is why we have these problems in our life. Did you understand the departure and the arrival point with reference to our dear friend? That may happen in our life also, but again I'm asking, do you have clarity? Here and now? So when I have a clarity, I have an understanding. My mind was thinking, you are responsible for my sorrow and suffering. Now that is gone. When that is gone, that makes us a seeker. Seeker is clear about the departure point and the arrival point. My departure point, I have to remove unhappiness, fear, anxiety, insecurities. That is present in me. It cannot be undone by any object or any person outside in the world. Clear? That is departure point. What is the arrival point? To know my real self. Until this happens, yoga never begins. Do whatever we do. Meditation never really begins. My friends, with that, think of it. Please start thinking. Please start thinking so that we can go to next level of understanding what exactly is Viveka in a particular thought. You express the thought and I will tell you where is the Viveka in it. I am stressed, I will tell you where the Viveka is. I am happy, where the Viveka is. So we'll pick up that in the next session. Let us start our practice today. I take care that there should not be any sound, so close your eyes. Body is steady. Just look at the body is steady. When you look at the body, which is, you are aware of the steadiness in the body, that is it. So what we think? Oh, I think if the body is steady, let me start moving and making it comfortable. No. You will miss the point. Did I talk about departure and arrival point? That is 100% clear to you now, my friends. Very good. So now mind is facing within. With that mind facing within, my friends, you are mentally doing namaste. As if you imagine. We imagine stress. That I'm stressed. Why don't you imagine that you have mentally folded the hands? You see, we are walking casually with awareness into mindfulness. consciousness or meditation, whatever you say. We are not making it so. Now you are aware that you are in the Namaste Mudra, then you look inside at the center of the palm in the space. So that space means 5 fingers belongs to the sense organs, the next 5 fingers, motor organs. I'm not dependent on these 5 sense organs or the 5 motor organs. That's why I'm looking at the center of the palm. So the knowledge that I already have, which is not helping me, so I drop it. And that leads me to the space within. I'm ready to learn. And that learning, the humility comes. In that state of the humility, the Master or the Eastern wisdom says, you are real self. But if those thoughts are coming and they take over you, the mind is working on you, that will not make you a seeker. Again, returning to the verse, I believe it will trigger your intellect, understanding, clarity, separating. So those thought enters into your mind, you are separating. I'm humble. I know I have tried years and years with no avail. So now let me pick up real self, self-existent, beyond cause and effect relationship. It is self-luminous. It is pure consciousness. That is my destination. But until I allow the intellect to live into that awareness, how? Mentally, sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Mind is saying no, intellect is saying sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Let there be well-being for all. I have broken the tumbler full of water to merge into a river water. Now see the perception. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. With that space in between the palms, you allow the intellect to travel. Let there be well-being for all. That brings a further humility. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. See, I'm using a simple mantra to make the intellect more powerful. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Let there be peace, peace and peace. For all, for everyone. It does not, it may not help others, but it is helping me when I say this. Why? Because I can see that peace everywhere that expands my mind. Sarvesham purnam bhavatu. Let there be completeness in all. Completeness? Keep the knowledge, keep the intellect alive. If everyone is complete in oneself, where is the desire to seek happiness outside? How simple it is. It is only become simple by the first principle, Viveka, discernment. Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. You see, we have been using the mantra in a different ways in our practices. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be auspiciousness for all. It is helping me as a seeker. Once you understand, you have that clarity. Again, I'm saying, using the word clarity. May there be auspiciousness for all. So you have removed inauspicious feeling from you. Now, we are not becoming a Masiha, Savior. If you start thinking like this, it means the ego is still there. You have to keep it aside. That is why we are doing the Namaste. Look at it. This is another understanding. So, yes, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. But we are aware the mind returns again to the same old stuff. And that is what I said. We have to purify the mind. We have to purify the mind. So simple. But before that, let us check. Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable looking at the neck joint? First. Now I believe you all that it is happening so easily. What is happening so easily? You look at the neck joint. You feel the sensation, comfort and steadiness. And then after that there is a space, and beyond the space, which is still unknown, is our destination. Look at the shoulder joints. You have done it hundred of times. So shoulder joints being there, feeling sensation, comfort and steadiness. Very good. Then the space. And now, arrival point, you are clear. Then only I can progress into meditation. The entire body, sensation, comfort and steadiness, followed by, you already know the space is there, and awareness, being carefree. I've been using it now. Associate clarity, understanding, being carefree. And it is so simple. Whatever comes to the mind is not me. I will take it a little deeper. Why? That is what the carefree is. I gave you an example of birds flying in the sky. Sky remains as it is, untainted. Birds are thoughts, standing across the road watching the traffic. Well, yes, I also discussed. Mind is, the moment you have a thought, the mind is acting like a salesman. Thank you. Bye-bye. I don't need it. Who says this? Intellect. How it says non-verbally, but how in the field of awareness? No, but how? I'm aware it's neighbor's house, it is my house. See the understanding. But still the mind does not listen. It is the deeper layers of the mind which has accumulated millions and billions of impressions that triggers, converts into a thought and a feeling, and that prevents me to realize the ultimate state of meditation. What should I do? Purify the mind. Temporarily, maybe. So, we will continue looking inside the heart in the space and start. I'm not saying that you have to breathe very fast and exert force. No. Gentle, slow, quick and short breath. With awareness, start breathing. Keep your focus inside the heart or the head in the space. Continue, quick, short, gentle breath. The intellect is aware. The intellect is knowing what you are doing. The mind will say no, the intellect says yes. That is known as patience and endurance. We'll talk about it later. Continue. Just continue. We don't allow the mind to take over us so that we have a delusion about the destination, about the arrival point. You see, I'm just trying to make everything clear through different ways. That is what the journey is. Continue, my friends. Continue. Continue. If you have been doing the practice regularly, last time we did it for 5 minutes, it's very easy. You see where the role of the intellect comes? Clarity, understanding. And now stop this, do nothing, start breathing deep, silent and slow. Just deep, silent and slow. Not very deep so that you feel discomfort. No way. Why? Our journey is for peace and happiness. The logic doesn't apply in the beginning. If you do this, you may feel discomfort in the beginning, later on comfort. No. That is an unconscious and habitual step. Conscious step. If we feel, yeah, the breath is going good, yes. Can I make it little deeper and gentle? Yes. In that state, you already know we will inhale for 10 seconds, 15 seconds for retention, and we will, in that retention, just say to yourself that peace is seated, located deep inside me in the space. And stay there. So let us start. Inhaling deep, silent, slow for 10 seconds. Retain the breath inside, let the mind jump deep inside the heart. Peace is within me, deep inside, into that infinite space, and keep looking there. Release the breath, allow the breath to be normal, and check. Is the breath flowing normally when you released it? Means what? The mind is not creating any issue. Mind doesn't say, I will take over you. Inhale, deep, silent, slow, again. Retain the breath. Peace within me, deep inside the heart. It's a non-verbal. You know the destination. Keep exploring and release the breath. You are checking, you are fully aware when you release the breath. Oh, yes, I don't see the mind is causing any challenge to my breath. It is as if release natural. It will happen. And inhale again 10 seconds. Retain the breath. You know the destination, looking deep inside the heart in the space or emptiness or blankness. You are exploring there. Beyond object. Why? No object of the world contain happiness. That's why I'm going deeper inside. So simple. Release the breath. Do you have clarity? Yes. So when you have that clarity, one more time, inhale deep, silent and slow. Retain the breath, and during that retention, it's a brief period. my awareness goes deeper inside. It is also aware. If any object to the world comes, drop it. Release the breath. How simple. Can you do this step during the day? Or talking to someone with whom you have a disliking? You will see the change. Last time, inhale, deep, silent and slow. And retain the breath for a few seconds. Peace is like a space going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Now release the breath. How simple it is. Simple does not mean that I have done once and okay, that is okay. Where it is? Now you are clear. Release the breath. In that, check the breath. The breath goes in. Let us use another method through the intellect. The moment the breath goes in, the mind jumps instantly deeper inside the heart, dropping Shantoham, I am the peace. The moment the breath comes out, the mind jumps outside, becomes the universe, Shantoham. You're not picking up any object. The mind seems to be absorbed into the space, Akash. The last step is this, that the mind is fully aware of the breath. It is not changing the rate and the rhythm of the breath, but you have an extraordinary awareness. What is that? On the breath. The moment the breath goes in, the mind follows, dropping Shanto hum mentally and absorbed into the inner space. When the breath returns, mind is absorbed into the outer space. Inner and the outer space. When that difference melts away, where you are, I have already explained to you. Continue the journey. The journey The journey of the mindfulness or meditation is easy, natural, only when the mind is natural. And the natural mind is, we are working on the mind. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Then bring the hands down. How are you, David and Jerry?
Well, to begin with, it's nice to be back. It was interesting because the short breaths, the first, I don't know, 10 or 15 or 20% of it, there was a struggle, and then I just let it go and just let it be easy. And with that struggle was a high body temperature, and once all of a sudden I clicked into this easiness, all of a sudden the body temperature dropped, and I went into the deepest space that I've ever can recall being in. So much so that I missed the first hold the breath session.
Yeah.
So
What
no,
a
it's
beautiful,
wonderful.
subtle perception that you are breathing. In the beginning, you find it challenging. Why? Because the mind is working on me. The moment you said let it go, and you take over the mind. That subtle perception has to be very clear in every meditation practice. Wonderful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. And although we've been away for a bit, I feel like we haven't.
Good,
And
good.
the message with the Viveka and the clarity has been something really active day to day with myself, and then just with all my relationships, and just really trying to tune into that clarity with no reaction, like no real attachment. So it's been great.
I'm lucky, and you are lucky that you both are doing it together.
Mm.
Not many people, like this idea, and they continue with their uh, same old routine. That's really beautiful. Yes, it helps not only relationship, it changes your personal, professional, social, family life. How are you, Laura?
I am good. I actually also had a very similar experience with David, is that it was a little bit of a struggle, and I was really stuffed up on one side of my nose, and then all of a sudden I watched this clarity happen. And then when we got to the hold the breath piece, I totally missed the first two. And then I was like, ah! And I watched my mind kind of like, get back into work. And then the the last two, I had this experience of this like pulsating in my heart, and just this opening and peace that was really beautiful. So that was really nice, and yeah,
It's
I felt
beautiful. Yes, yes. Cognitive ability, that is what you both discussed. Viveka is nothing but a cognitive ability. I become aware the mind is causing the trouble. What is in it to just, what is there? Nothing. But the mind pokes its nose. So once we recognize that, we are there. Wonderful. How are you, Christina?
I'm well. Thank you for that. Sorry, I got a phone call. That was very peaceful. I totally forgot I was in my car, so that was a little shocking when I opened my eyes and I was back here. But I felt the clarity aspect absolutely hit home, and I have never been able to, I love hearing like Stephen's and everyone's experiences of being able to explore the heart, and today I was finally able to maybe get a glimpse of that. So I felt like I was able to clear up what I had all stuck up here and have been able to drop it down. So thank you for that.
Wonderful, beautiful. You cannot think how happy I am seeing the progress amongst you. How are you, Sam?
I'm really good. I had a very easy and effortless time with the breathing again today because I've been practicing it. So when at any point, I think it was probably a little longer today, maybe 7 minutes, I don't know, I would guess. But anytime I started to notice my mind creeping in, I just went back to looking into the space and just saying to myself, you know the goal of the practice, that's it. And there was no skips, no anything. The holding the breath became effortless. I think the one part was that I came out of the meditation when Jari was already giving.
Yes, I could see that.
Whatever, that's okay. I do have a question at the end though, so I'll ask that after.
Yes. How are you, Barbara?
I'm very good. I felt very solid during the meditation, like I couldn't move even if I wanted to move. I didn't want to move, but I couldn't move. And I just felt a feeling of peace and joy.
Peace and joy. You see, everyone has their own perception. What she said, my body doesn't, was solid rock. But something in me wants to move, but it didn't move. So what is that something? Is the mind. Mind wants to go out. So you see, that also leads to a sense of purification of the mind. It takes you to a very deeper, long journey. Yes, Sangeeta and Terry are left. Yes, Sangeeta.
सर बहुत पीसफुल था और सर ऐसे लग रहा था कि मैं स्पेस में हूँ और मेरे आसपास एक कवच जैसा है.
Yes. She is feeling that she is deep inside into the space in the sky, and there is some cover. Some cover. That space is covered by the space is covered by some kind of a cover. Obviously, it is working on the mind. We are working on the mind. We don't allow anything to happen. How are you, Terry?
I made a little progress with the breathing, with the fast breathing.
Yes.
You're
happy.
I'm glad about that because there's a part of me that fights it. And so I just told myself to just keep concentrated on the part that was intending to do it.
Yes,
and
that
tell
is.
the other part to be. The other part is like a thought that you tell to go away.
Yeah.
And then I was able to do that not too much difficulty.
No.
But
Beautiful.
so the strangest thoughts is the thoughts that came to me after that were so specific and for no reason. I figure I must be clearing stuff out.
Yes, clearing, but understand one thing, Terry, that every thought is a strange thought. That needs to be, if I am aware of this, I'm already free from thoughts. Every thought is a strange thought. Yes, Sam, what is your question?
Okay, so we've been talking about discernment for a while, which is good, and you described it most recently as cognitive ability to discern the real from the unreal, right?
Yes.
I'm noticing this is happening in different phases. So what I've started to do personally is every night after my day, I write down a 2-sentence reflection on my day, and then I write when I was my real self, when I wasn't my real self, and what I call closing the gap, how to do different tomorrow, okay? So I do that in the moment a lot of times now when things are going on with people or places or decisions. I'm trying to do that daily, but sometimes there are situations where I reflect at the end of the week or the end of the month, which I'm also trying to do, and say, wow, okay, when you look on a more broad scale, I was not my real self for other reasons. So is that all considered discernment, where sometimes you notice things a week later or a month later or maybe longer? Is that all the same thing?
All the same thing, but what will happen by this weekly or monthly evaluation, that the time will come when you have a discernment from moment to moment. Moment to moment. What is that moment to moment? Am I a speaker? No. Consciousness cannot be the speaker. Now look at it. Look at this from a moment to moment. Body is moving. I'm not the body. I'm not the speaker. So what is going to happen? The way you are doing it is really wonderful. If you do it from a moment to moment, you will remain in the state of meditation. But that is a wonderful approach. It's a bit of learning for all of us, that why shouldn't we do it before going to retire to the bed? When we wake up in the morning, just think, this is real, pure consciousness. The rest of the world is unreal. So I will remain aware of that. It's a wonderful way. I think we should all, including me also, should learn from these thoughts. Beautiful. Continue, my friend. That is all for today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks to those people also who didn't join.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.